I need a dollar, 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 that's what I need. Hey, hey, can you feel me? Can you feel me, ladies, gentlemen, fellas? Can you feel me after waking up this morning? I put it in the Discord. I put the anchor man. Oh, you ate the whole wheel of cheese? I'm not even mad. That's amazing. That's impressive, right? Because Dwight Howard gets fouled out in the first quarter, or not fouled out, ejected in the first quarter, second flagrant foul, whatever it might be. And if you saw the tape, seeing the tape makes it even more annoying. Now, I'm somebody who doesn't really tilt, and I was sleeping when this whole thing was going down. I'll be honest with you. Right when the game's locked at 10, the Draymond Green news and some other stuff came out. Your boy, he put his hands together like this, and he took himself a nice little nap until 5 in the morning. And then I woke up and wondered, hey, what happened last night? Some things went wrong based on what these returns are looking like, even though, Bam Adebayo goes off. We get the nice Gabe Vincent game, and Tyler Hero's doing his thing, and all these other guys that, we had some nice interest in. And as Cantor, like money, like clockwork, does well for us. Sadly, now Yusuf Nurkic is likely back today. So let's all pour one out for Enes Kanter. But yes, Dwight Howard fouling out early. So if you're out there right now and you got one, I'm going to need a dollar. That's what I need. Hey. And my mistake, my apology yesterday morning when I said, lighten the load. We go from an 11-game a Wednesday slate to a 5-game Thursday slate. Lighten the load on the news and all that. And my dumbass didn't even know until about 2 or 3 hours later, or at least forgot that it was a trade deadline at 3 p.m. East Coast time. And then I'm just like, oh, we're going to have the most news on the year. Thank God it's a 5-game slate. Oof. And boy, oh boy, do we have the news. It was like everybody was getting traded, so they're not playing. Then everybody else on their teams was like, you know what? This guy's not here today, so I'm not showing up. This guy got traded, he's not playing today. I'm not showing up either, right? Everybody's sitting today. Now we get another massive 11-game slate with some big injury news. So hey, how you doing? How you doing out there? Hopefully you still got some pennies in your account, whether it's 3, 4, 5, whatever you got. Let's get right back in the streets today. What is it? What do you say? 11-game slate. Let's crank this thing back up and go right up into it here. You know what I'm saying? So, notable injuries, we're going to hit you with top 12 plays of the day. As of right now, we have to do some assumptions on guys being in or out, but let's talk through it. There's a lot of trades that went down yesterday. I'm not going through every trade. We ain't doing it. Those guys are not going to play today. They have to pass their physicals. They have to travel for one. They have to learn, somewhat the playbook, right? They have to somewhat get past those physicals for COVID things as well. So they ain't playing today. So we can kind of talk about those things. So that's going to be opening up a lot of value today. So Goran Dragic for Miami. Goran Dragic's already ruled out. Also, Jimmy Butler missed yesterday. Questionable today. I'm currently projecting him out. Oladipo will not make his debut there today as he was traded there. Harden's questionable. I'm projecting him in. The Celtics today, they lost Daniel Tice in the trade, so he's not there. You also have Semi Ojeleye and Tristan Thompson out, so it could be Robert Williams' season, but I don't know if I expect him to play 30 minutes. I'm giving him 25 today. Lonzo, questionable. I'm ruling him out. Draymond, questionable. I'm ruling him out today. The Magic. Oh boy, the Magic blew it all up. So they don't have Aaron Gordon or Vooch or Evan Fournier anymore. Terrence Ross is even questionable for this game. So track that because they're down a lot of bodies at this point. Norman Powell got traded and so did Gary Trent Jr. Those guys got traded for each other, I believe. So they're both not going to be playing for their respective teams today. So some value is opening up. So hey. We're going to be live later today at 4:30 or 5-ish p.m. East Coast time. We'll be chilling out, relaxing, maxing all cool. So be sure to hit the, subscribe button right now. If you're not already subscribed, join the community. And also be sure to hit that notification bell. You tap it. It takes 2 seconds of your time. And that'll let you know when we're going live later today. Let's pop this thing off with the number 12 play in the day. And that is going to be Nikola Jokic. Now, normally people are like, hey, Sal, he's normally like your number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 if he's on a slate, right? If he's on a slate, he's normally up inside that top 10. Today he's the number 12 play. There's a lot of value already on this slate depending on who you rule in or out. Look, it's the Nikola Jokic season. He's cheap. He's 10,600. You might be saying, he's cheap. What? Yes. Nikola Jokic for me today, based on his projection, giving him around 1.6 fantasy points per minute, giving him 36 minutes of play, actually in my projections puts him around a $11,500 player. So he's about $1,000 too cheap today, which is just absolutely remarkable. I mean, if you just look at what he's averaging on the season this year, 59.64 DraftKings points per game. If you just put him at that price point today, and you want to say your 5x value or whatever you want to identify as being a good play in the slate at that price point, well then he should be $11,800, $11,700, somewhere in that range. So massively underpriced for Nikola Jokic in a quality matchup against who? Steven Adams and Jackson Hayes today against New Orleans. We'll take that with a 116.5 team implied total. It's looking very, very nice for a man in Nikola Jokic who even in blowouts plays big minutes. The number 11 play on the day is a man on a back-to-back. Lots of teams on back-to-backs. We have 22 teams playing today, right? So there's going to be a lot of teams on back-to-backs on this 11-game slate. $6,500 Jordan Poole. Steph Curry's already out. I am projecting out today Eric Paschall and Draymond, who did not play yesterday. If that changes, we will update it later in the day over on Patreon. You get the updates. You get that as part of the benefit, the projections, the ranks, the top plays on SuperDraft and DraftKings. We now have the lineup optimizer, the most underrated thing that we also have. I mean, all that's fucking fantastic. But the most underrated thing that we have is the Discord, where there's right now, I think, around 400 people in there. And we're hoping to get all the patrons. All the patrons have access to it. So you can be sure to join the community. That Discord is so underrated, man. Everybody going back and forth in there for different sports, just bouncing strategy, jokes as well. Just, just chilling out, relaxing, maxing, all cool. But strategy, news is coming out. Bang, we all kind of get up in there. Oh, go over here on Prize Picks and get this. Oh, this guy's this multiplier right when the news drops, right? We have bots in there as well, just telling you the news the moment it drops. So be sure to check it out. Lots of value there, but also getting those projection updates. I mean, all the way up until 10 p.m. last night, I was up, your boy grinding the most updates ever. I think it was the record. So we're pulling up Popcorn Machine. These blue lines right here show you when a player was playing. So these were the 5 starters yesterday. And you can see Jordan Poole started right here. He ended up playing the first 8 minutes and 25 seconds of the first quarter. That's great. We can scroll across to Jordan Poole. He keeps playing. He plays well. He plays a bunch of minutes in the first quarter. Basically plays around 16, 17 minutes in the first half alone, right? But then here's the thing. In the second half, and this is still Jordan Poole right here, you see this block where it's blue and then it's yellow. So he's blue right here. He plays the first 5.5 minutes and then he checks out. As you can see, Jordan Poole stint 5, period 4. He plays 12 minutes. So it starts off the quarter, checks out with 6.5 minutes left, doesn't play again because it was a blowout, right? They ended up losing by more than 20 points, the Sacramento Kings team. So you had Jordan Poole still playing 30 minutes in the game. Jordan Poole playing well. We can look at his box score right here if you want to zoom in on it. He played well. He shot 5 of 13. He had a decent amount of assists and rebounds and some other peripheral stats for you. And that was in like 29.5 to 30 minutes of play. He still had about 5 or 6 minutes in the chamber. So I'm projecting today Jordan Poole for around 36 minutes, around a fantasy point per minute. So he's projecting out for me for over 36 fantasy points today, which looks very good for yet again a guy who is shooting guard eligible. A nice pace spot here against Atlanta as well, a 103.6 projected pace. That means possessions per team per game. That's above the league average of about 102.5. So he's our number 11 play in the day. The number 10 play in the day, I mean, this is way bigger than the number 10 play in the day, this turtleneck right here. If you're not watching right now on the YouTube channel, then you don't know. But if you want to know, if you don't know, now you know. This turtleneck, man, this thing's OG. I have to get myself some other ones of these. Some other ones that are like some nicer colors. Maybe we get like a little salmon one. Maybe we get a nice little light blue one. Oof, we're feeling out, chilling out, feeling ourselves, jumping up and down today on National Spinach Day. Man, spinach is some good shit. You saute that shit? Oof, spinach is good shit. You put that in an omelet? Oof, oof. Raw spinach, yeah, I can take a raw spinach salad as well, but celebrate National Spinach Day today because your only other option is National Epilepsy Awareness Day, and I mean, that's good to make awareness of, right? Something that's very scary, but I don't think you want to be celebrating that day in terms of like the act of actually having epilepsy. That's probably not something you're trying to do today, so eat your spinach. Eat your power greens, if you will. Number 10 play in the day is going to be Eric Bledsoe today. So here we go, ready? Listen, open up the mirror balls. This is if Lonzo Ball is out, and I'm projecting him out. He's questionable today. He's been missing some games. He wanted to be traded, and now he's not. So there's some weird stuff going on there. But the number 10 play in the day is Eric Bledsoe for me. Look, this is the problem with Eric Bledsoe right now. He's getting the minutes. He's playing big minutes. He's playing 33, 31, 29 over the last 3 games alone, right? So I'm giving Eric Bledsoe, I mean, even if Lonzo Ball's in 30 plus minutes today, but it's even more secure with Lonzo Ball being out, but he's $4,400. Why is he so cheap? You're saying if he's playing the minutes. I mean, this is a guy who just a week ago was $5,800, $5,600, right? Now he's $4,400. Why has he hit this, what I would call the rock bottom price point? Well, it's because of his shooting. The last time out there, he shot 12%. The time before that, 38, 33%. I mean, these are terrible shooting nights over the last 4 games, which spans across about a week or a week and a half. So his price point has literally dropped $1,400 in 2 weeks because he just can't put the ball in the hoop. That's eventually going to come back around. This is not a 12% shooter. You have Eric Bledsoe in the season shooting well above 12 and 30%. I mean, he's in the 50 percentiles in the upper 40s in shooting, which is not great to begin with, but it's definitely not 12 and 30%. So Bledsoe at 4,400, you're getting a buy low spot on a guy who's going to project out for 30 minutes today and over 0.8 fantasy points per minute. Now, inside the top 10, we go to the number 9 play in the day, and I will let you know about the sponsor of the program, and that is going to be SuperDraft as I pull up their contest offerings for today. So yesterday, SuperDraft's contest with all the major news going on. They have the 10-game slate. They don't put the first game on there, so you have more time to go over to it. SuperDraft, it's a multiplier format. You just basically, instead of having salaries, you get a multiplier. So you can see like Luke has a 1x multiplier. If he scores 55 points today, he'll be given times his 1x multiplier, 55 points. You have some guys on the slate, though. If you scroll down a little bit, Trae Young has a 1.25x multiplier. So if he was to go out there and score 50 points, you multiply it by 1.25x, and he's actually going to score a lot more than Luka. So it's all about projections. It's all about understanding multiplier. We do have player pools and projections for SuperDraft. Just link down below in the description on Patreon if you want to check that out. But if you use the promo code SAL, my name, SAL, you can get into SuperDraft, and they will match you if you put in $25 or more, so very close to the minimum deposit. They will give you $25 right there. $25 right in your account. Bam, schmackaroo, dollarskis in your account. But the reasons, a couple of reasons. So play on SuperDraft because it's a different format. It's a ton of fun, but the contests aren't filling. If the contests fill at 85%, you're automatically beating 15% of the field just by entering a lineup, right? Those lineups basically just take zeros, and that's never going to happen on DraftKings or FanDuel. There's never that much, and if there is, it's like a big thing. Everybody starts tweeting about it. Oh my God, this contest is only 85% filled. On SuperDraft, that literally happens every single night, and some nights it's only like 60, 65, 75% filled. The other thing is if you're signing up with the code SAL, whether you have in the past or you are right now, so this is good information for everybody, you're actually going to be put into a group every single month where now, since SuperDraft partner with Caesar Rewards, like travel rewards, they're going to be giving trip experiences. So this is a ton of fun. Somebody in the Discord got an email letting them know that they're now a VIP eligible for these trip exclusives. So we worked out a deal. This is the whole point of it, trying to give back to the community. Now, like once a month, there'll be a big event like the Masters in April. We're going to be doing it around then. We're going to be giving away Caesar Rewards points, and those Caesar Rewards points, along with some of the other stuff, just to my community. If you sign up with that code SAL, then you're able to go in there and say, hey, maybe you're the person at one of the 10 that month that gets the chance to win these Caesar Rewards points and basically get free trips, free travel, and a free trip at a resort, wherever you want to go at Caesar Rewards places that are eligible. So that's absolutely fantastic. That's a ton of fun. So it's just more of a give back to my community. Like if somebody wants to be a sponsor in this channel, yeah, it's great if from a business perspective I can benefit from that, but I don't want it to be at the expense of people who are watching. I don't want it to be a saturation or something that's not a good benefit. I always want there to be so much value in what the big gaming sites who are making millions and millions and tens and hundreds of millions of dollars a year. Let's give back to my community. If you want to be on my channel, we're going to treat my community right. So that's what we're motherfucking doing here. You can use that code SAL, S-A-L, get that free money bonus and a chance to win some exclusive perks each month. That code SAL lets them know you came from me. The number 9 play in the day, and this is assuming we already have the news that Goran Dragic is out. This is now assuming that you're going to be seeing no Jimmy Butler out there. I'm projecting him out. I think it was an illness yesterday. He got ruled out less than 24 hours later. He's going to have to play again. I'm just projecting him out right now. And the thing that you get with Duncan Robinson as our number 9 play at $4,700, you don't get great fantasy point per minute production. Here's the thing that you get with him. We'll pull him up on the screen right now. This is from Add More Funds. As we pull up the Miami Heat, we take off Goran Dragic and Jimmy Butler. Duncan Robinson plays the most minutes with those guys off the court this year, and it's by far the most minutes. He stays healthy, and he plays big minutes anyways. So Duncan Robinson, with these guys off the court, he's just secured in now at like 35 minutes instead of maybe playing 32 or 33. You can see he's not a great producer. He relies on shooting. He's a 39% shooter. He doesn't really drive too much. He only has an 8% assist percentage, doesn't rebound all that often, 12% or so, 0.68 fantasy points per minute. So that's not great, but the price point is still cheap, and now the minutes are very secure, which puts Duncan Robinson, for me, inside the top 10 as my number 9 play at a 111.5 team implied total, assuming Jimmy Butler remains out. The number 8 play in the day is just Mr. James Harden, so I do prefer James Harden for $200 more to Nikola Jokic right now. I have James Harden yet again projecting for over 60 fantasy points. If you're wondering where I stand on some of the prize pick stuff today, we'll talk about that later on in the live stream. We had a very big live stream turnout yesterday. 400 people at one point were tuning in for the live stream, so that's awesome. Talked about prize picks, SuperDraft, DraftKings, of course, lots of other strategy. So if you want to be seeing where's these prize picks that we're doing, we went very much so in depth on that last show. We actually were able to pick up some of the news coming out and get on some of those overs once some news broke on Butler being out. But Harden today, a 115.5 team implied total, looks fantastic against Detroit. He's now averaging 1.54 fantasy points a minute this season without the other studs in Kyrie and Durant on the court. I'm giving him 39 minutes today. He projects out for 60.6 points, 2 points more than anybody else on the slate for me. He is my number overall 8 play on the slate. So if Harden and Jokic are not inside your top 8, right? If they're not in there, then who is? Well, let's get into it. The number 7 play on the day today, Juan. Give me one moment. Juan Toscano Anderson. I mean, that right there might actually be his walkout music if he ever joins the MMA, the UFC, starts the fight. Either way, if somebody can clip that like 2 seconds right there, tag Juan Toscano Anderson, and my man might actually have himself a new song. He could be the new Mo Bamba. I'm ballin' like my name is Mo. Except we have the Juan Toscano Anderson. People right now listening to the podcast are like, yo, shut this guy up. All right, $3,800 today. Here's the thing. Toscano Anderson started yesterday. This is assuming that Eric Paschall and Draymond Green are out again. If they're both in, well, then forget all about Juan Toscano Anderson. We don't care. A nice pace spot like we discussed earlier with Jordan Poole. He saw 26 minutes in 3 quarters. He checks out yesterday with a couple minutes left, and we could actually pull back up because we already have it up right here. Wow, look at that. Juan Toscano Anderson. You can see he starts the game right here. He plays the first 11 minutes of the game. Very nice to see. And then this is the second half right here. He plays the first 9 minutes and 40 seconds and checks out. So he checks out, he plays a nice stint. He checks out with 2:19 left in the third quarter, already playing over 26 minutes at this point. Does not play again in the game. Why? Because they lose by 20 plus, and there's no reason to be checking him back in late in the fourth quarter for no reason, especially if they're expecting, and this is what leads me to believe that we're probably not going to see Draymond, or at least they don't think that it's a confidence point to see Draymond or Pascal today, because Juan Toscano-Anderson. If you think you're going to get Draymond back tomorrow, or you think there's a better chance or a likely chance that he's coming back, then you probably just let Juan Toscano-Anderson, when you have a short bench, just play the final 5 minutes of the game. Who cares? You got Kent Bazemore, you got Pascal potentially coming back, Draymond, right? But the fact that they actually took Toscano-Anderson out and they were prioritizing him as if he was a starter and maybe even a starter moving forward today leads me to believe that there's some very much so murkiness around the status of Draymond and Pascal to play today after missing yesterday. So Toscano-Anderson, it's very similar to what you're getting out of, let's just say, a Duncan Robinson. They're nowhere near the same type of players, their positionality and how they score fantasy points, but just in terms of the minute security is now what makes this more exciting. When you could project around 30 minutes for a guy who averages, 0.8 fantasy points per minute, that's obviously at $3,800, which makes it more of a play. The blowout run, without that yesterday, he probably plays 32, 33 minutes. Our number 6 play in the day is Nickeil Alexander-Walker. This is assuming Lonzo Ball is out, and he's just an absolute baller if indeed the case. $5,300, I'm giving him a fantasy point per minute today at a 31 minutes projection, and you can even give him more minutes if you wanted to. He also has a 15+% assist percentage and rebounding rate. 15% rebounding rate, great to see for a guard. Around a 18% assist percentage, great to see, as well as you also have a 22+% usage rate for him on the season with Lonzo Ball off the court. I would expect him to start. This Denver team is still okay on defense, but now, you have Jamal Murray, who doesn't try the hardest on defense, right? You have a Michael Porter Jr., who is not good on defense out there. Will Barton, sure, 30, 35 minutes, that's fine. But Gary Harris just got traded. Monty Morris is still out. This is a team that is not as, I would say, formidable on defense as they were a year or two ago. I said that word very quickly just to make sure that I actually sounded like I said it right. Now to the top 5 we go. Number 5 overall is James Wiseman, but, and it's a big old booty. Want to let you know about Patreon very quickly. Sign up down below if you want to join. Community, that is awesome. Projections, ranks, people winning Dollarooskies. Here we go, right? And it's also a community. I'm going to put emphasis on the community. You're getting a ton of benefits and value from the lineup optimizer, the big energy lineup optimizer that is new as of this month. Loads of value there for the price. That getting put into some of these groups, that alone is usually $100. You now get that with all the tools for a fraction of the cost is what it's around the industry. I'm just the only person here in my business, so I don't need to charge high prices. We can get that nice little break-even point, and that could be our niche, but also the community. The Discord is growing literally by the day, by the week right now. This Discord is getting so much more powerful, inclusive from so many different opinions and people that are all over the world and global at this point. It's so freaking cool. So you can be sure to check it out. Link down below, Patreon. Come join the community. If you have the means to do so, if you've been thinking about it, here's a little nudge to do so right here, especially if you've been just watching on YouTube for a long time and you've been, saying, hey, I want to take my game to the next level. Patreon linked down below. Wiseman, the number 5 play in the day today. I'm projecting Wiseman out right now for about 30 minutes. He also, like everybody else on his team, just kind of got the knock yesterday because of that blowout that ended up happening. But Wiseman right now, he looked like an even better play once the news happened on Draymond. Obviously, he looks like a better play once the news happened on Draymond yesterday. What did he do? He scored 13.5 fantasy points yesterday. You're going to say, Sal, what the hell? Well, he played 29 minutes in a game that blew out by 20+ points. They lost. He had 4 personal fouls in the game. He only shot 8 times in the game. It was a very weird game for James Wiseman. I hope that keeps people off of him. James Wiseman is not going to go out there when he plays 30+ minutes more often than not. He has a matchup against Atlanta, which is tougher against Collins and Capella, a bigger team, but he's not going to go out there with a 107.5 team implied total. I doubt that they go out there again and they score 119 points and James Wiseman isn't contributing with more than 6 points in the game. He had a brutal game. 5 turnovers and 4 personal fouls. Just a brutal game. No assists, no blocks. I'm expecting 30 minutes today, and he averages a 26% defensive rebounding rate with those guys off the court. The number 4 play in the day, we're starting to get into some of these Miami guys now. That is going to be Trevor Ariza. Trevor Ariza is just a minutes play. I'm giving him 28 minutes today. He's not a yes for me. He's one of my maybes. So out of all these top 12 plays right now, Trevor Ariza is the only one who is not a yes currently in my player pool. For this 11-game slate, I currently have 47 players in a player pool, and I currently have a lot of yeses. I have 20 yeses, but Trevor Ariza is not one of those yeses. So just keep this in perspective. Because he's not a good fantasy point per minute producer, you're going to expect somewhere around 0.65, maybe 0.7 fantasy points a minute today. Against Charlotte, I have him at 28 minutes today, and it's the minutes combined with the price. So that's going to be projecting out Trevor Ariza right now for me at 20.2 DraftKings points. So he looks good. Inside the top 3 we go. If you're still here, so this will help you out right now. As of right now in the morning, just very quickly before we get in the top 3, the SuperDraft top plays of the day right now based on my projections. So again, use the code SAL if you want to check it out. This can give you a nice little footing. The top 5 plays of the day we'll actually go with. Number 1, Bam Adebayo over there. This is based on projection. Number 2, Giannis. Number 3, Nikola Jokic. Number 4, Michael Carter-Williams, who has a 1.8x multiplier, and that only gets better if Terrence Ross is out. And number 5, Gordon Hayward, who has a 1.5x multiplier. Those are currently, as it stands right now, my top 5 SuperDraft plays. Number 3 play in the day, Gabe Vincent, who started yesterday. So again, if Butler is out, Dragic's already ruled out. I like to go back to Gabe Vincent, who's going to average for me today, have him projecting out at 26 minutes and 0.8 fantasy points per minute. He averages a 20% usage rate with Butler off the court, which we got to see yesterday. We got to see 9 29 assists out of Gabe Vincent yesterday. We got to see him play well and score 24 real life points, right? Or 24 DraftKings points. So as of right now, he is a yes for me. He's my number 3 overall play. Gabe Vincent currently projects out for me for 21.56 fantasy points, and that could potentially be low today. Number 2 play in the slate, we're going to Miami, the third Miami player in a row, and you're going to be getting right now $4,900 Kendrick Nunn. Now Tyler Hero just outside my top 12, so he's not my number 1 overall play, but Kendrick Nunn right now, the minutes, baby. I've got Kendrick Nunn today at 35 minutes of play. I have him at a 24% usage rate at 35 minutes when there's no Butler on the court, and a fantasy point per minute today. So Kendrick Nunn early on is projecting out for me for 31.62 fantasy points, and you love to see that. The only thing that you would love to see more is if you can put Kendrick Nunn into that shooting guard spot. Yesterday, Kendrick Nunn shot 13 times in 34 minutes of play. You love to see that. He picked up 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and he finished in that game where they end up losing by 3 to Portland with 39.25 fantasy points. That is fantastic to see, right? Right now, I don't even have him anywhere near that. But if he starts to continue to shoot around 15 plus times a game, like he has in back-to-back games with 19 and 13 shot attempts, this 31 fantasy point projection I have on him is going to be extremely low. I'm very surprised and interested to see how Kendrick Nunn is only 4,900. Like DraftKings, they're slow with some things. I guess they maybe think Butler's coming back today. Like they were quick to price up the entire Orlando team, right? Like if you go to Orlando today, you got to pay like $6,000 for James Ennis. No, thank you. But they're not so quick to price up some of these other guys. Like today, realistically, Kendrick Nunn should be around $6,000. And our number 1 play on the slate, the drum roll please, we're staying in Miami. Shout out to Will Smith right there. We're staying in Miami, $8,200. He comes up $200 since yesterday. LOL at that. But we could pull back up, add more funds. It's a free tool if you want to use it. Link down below. Bam Adebayo averages 1.37 DraftKings points per minute with Jimmy Butler and Goran Dragic off the court. He averages a whopping 36.8% assist percentage. That is elite numbers. That is better than Trae Young is averaging on the season, or right around what he's averaging on the season. So absolutely elite numbers. A 24% defensive rebounding rate, a 27% usage rate. All of these numbers currently lead this team, which is nuts as a center. He is the poor man's, if you will. Nikola Jokic, the poor man's, if you will. Joel Embiid to an extent in terms of how versatile Bam Adebayo is. Bam Adebayo has very legitimate triple-double upside today. You saw Bam Adebayo yesterday, I believe, be the highest scorer, if not the highest scorer, the second highest scorer on the slate. He absolutely balled out at $8,000. He went for 9 rebounds, 7 assists, and 29 real-life points on 16 shot attempts, playing close to the basket, shooting 81%. Bam Adebayo is my number 1 play in the day on DraftKings today. He's going to average 1.37 fantasy points per minute. I gave him 36 minutes of play. I think I fat-fingered this and put 37 minutes. I gave him 36 minutes of play today. Only played 32 yesterday. That's all he needed. Adebayo looks great. There's nothing more to say than that. Triple-double upside, assuming Jimmy Butler is out. If Jimmy Butler is in, we got to temper our expectations, but a matchup against Cody Zeller and Bismack Biyombo today for Bam Adebayo. I mean, man, if Bismack Biyombo goes out there and plays 20-plus minutes against Bam, it is going to be an absolute flame-throwing contest for Bam Adebayo. Triple-double upside, ever so intact. So thank you for tuning in today, Friday. Hopefully you're going to have a great start to your weekend. Hey. Happy National Spinach Day. Enjoy the start to your day. We're live later today around 4:30 or 5 p.m. East Coast time. Maybe like 4:45 I'll go live. We'll split the difference for you. But we'll be live then, so subscribe. Take 2 seconds of your time. Notification bell to check it out. And also be sure to check out the sponsor of the show, SuperDraft. Lots of great contests over there. It's a multiplier format. And they just don't fill. The contests don't fill. Again, that code SAL, S-A-L, gets you that money bonus. It gets you a $25 match if you put in $25 or more. And then also a potential chance to win some Caesar Rewards points. You all rock. I'll see you in the next one. Be sure to hop up into that Discord over on Patreon. Get all the tools. Mess around with the lineup optimizer and come in, say hello in the Discord. We'll all welcome you to it. See you all in the next one, gang. Later on today, we have an MMA video out. We have content coming out over the weekend for sure, and NBA and MMA as well. So be sure to check it all out. I hope you have a great start to your weekend.